Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to anyone watching out there. I hope you are either having or already had a fantastic day. So, a lot of people saw my GNOME setup in my Linux journey video and wanted to see a video about it, which I was surprised about. And at the same time, there's this common misconception that KDE is just so much more customizable out of the box. And if you do absolutely nothing and just go in settings, yeah, they're right. But there's this one tool that lets us customize really well, and those are extensions. And we're going to customize through the extension manager. That is what we're going to be doing today. So, this is how you're going to be greeted as soon as you're done installing whatever distro you have with GNOME. More precisely, GNOME 49 as of right now. So, let's start with the basics. When you do your setup, you do your normal settings like you would anytime. You bump up your refresh rate. Black screen right now, give you a second. There we go, it's much better now. And you want to maybe change something like the dark mode. Okay, great. What next? Well, I'm a believer in revolving the setup around the wallpaper and not the other way. So, use the browser you want. Right now, on the dock, it's web, but we're going to change that very soon to something y'all are going to absolutely hate. There's many wallpaper sites you can do. You can do Wallhaven, but one I like to do is Bing Wallpaper Archive, because they have the kinds of wallpapers that I like. More, let's make this bigger actually. More nature-oriented. More like stock images, if you get what I mean. Less anime. Let's go with this one. I like this. Nice little forest. So we do download in 4K. Save image as. We go to pictures. You could do a new folder called wallpapers if you're the kind of person, like me, to have a lot of them. Here we go. That's set up. That's how you go through the files. And now, if you go to files, this is the DaVinci in the background I'm going to be using for this. Actually, that's not true. I'm going to go on my main profile after this. You go to image viewer and you do set as background. Yes. There we go. We have our nice little green background now. Okay, so how do we get extensions working now? This is going to be with a tool called Extension Manager. This right here. Now, if you want to, if it's not already, if it's not already installed, here's how you install it if you're a complete beginner. There are 2 ways, and if you're on Arch, 3 ways you can do this. Well, there's definitely more, but the 3 main ways are just going on the software app and looking for Extension Manager. That's the easiest way, and it's going to install via FlatHub. A way I prefer doing it is doing it through the terminal. So let's open up our console, and if you're on a Debian-based system such as CachyOS or even well, I doubt you would be on GNOME if you're on Mint, but let's say you are. You do sudo apt install extension manager. If you're on a Fedora-based system, you do dnf install. I'm gonna type install, but I'm pretty sure you can do just in like this and it'll work. Someone in the comments tell me, I'm not sure. Sudo dnf install extension manager. I can't tab it yet. That's okay. There we go. And if you're on an Arch-based system, such as myself, like CachyOS, even EndeavourOS, Manjaro, or Arch Linux itself, it's going to be pacman-s extension manager. And if you are on an Arch-based distro, you can also do yay extension manager and then pick, well, there's only 2, but pick the one you want. Mine's already installed, so I'm not going to be doing that. Now, let's go to Extension Manager, and we're going to ping this to the dash. Now, before I go really crazy, I'm actually going to set up the apps I want in my dash. So we don't want this, we don't want that, we don't want that, we definitely want that, we don't want that, and we don't want that. We want... Okay, I'm gonna get a lot of pop-ups now. We want our browser of choice, and yes, I use Edge. You can criticize if you want, and I'll tell you why I use it. We also... You know what? For now, that's actually kind of it. That's the essentials we need. So, here we go. Extension Manager. No extensions installed. That's okay, we're gonna find them. Okay, I do not have a script, so I'm going purely off of memory, but it's gonna make it more authentic, because it's gonna make it more as if you're setting it up yourself, too. Off the top of my head, we want Blur My Shell. This is what's going to give us a huge makeover on our desktop. Install, and you're gonna already see that the panel is already blurred instead of being completely black. Great. Next, we want, let's go with Arc Menu. What Arc Menu does, it gives you a start menu right here instead of a workspace thing that you really don't need if you just oh my goodness, if you just hot corner to the thing. Let me just declutter here. Which is great, and we're going to be able to customize it to be the logo we want, and we're going to be able to change the start menu itself. It's going to be great. Next, we want dash to dock. So there's a dock here when you go in overview, but what dash to dock does is it's going to bring that dock on your permanent desktop view, basically, which is great, and we're going to tweak that later on. Next, we want extension list. I wrote extension wrong. Extension list. Am I going to find it? Unsupported extension. I don't even think it's the right one though, so that's okay. Yeah, this is the right one. But if ever we install an extension and it's out of date, I'll show you how you can change that. It can be a bit intimidating though, so if you just want to ignore it, that's completely fine. So we got Arc Menu, Blur My Shell, dash to dock, extension list. What else do we need? We need just perfection. This is very, very important. We need app indicator. It's going to be this one right here. Okay, great. Now, what else do we need? We need user themes. So what's going to have us actually load our themes. So that's always a good thing. Let's see, we got this, we got that, we got that, we got this, we got this, we got that, we got that. Is there anything else off the top of my mind? I don't think so. So if there's anything we need to add, we'll do that. But for now, this seems to be pretty sweet. So this setup is already pretty nice to my eyes. I like it a lot. But we're going to tweak a bit because that's how we are, aren't we? Arc Menu. So if you want to change the logo, you go to menu button. You can change the padding of the logo if you want like a 3 or something. If you want it to be closer but still spaced a bit. You can change the icon size. Say you want 20. Oh, that's a bit big. Let's go 24. And then you can change the logo to anything you want, but I would probably just recommend putting the logo of your distro, or at minimum what your distro is based off. So I could do Cachy, I could do Arch, but you can do anything, honestly. If you like the logo of Nobara like I do, you can do Nobara. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to put the Arch logo. There we go. If you want to change the start menu itself, you go into menu, menu layout, and then there's traditional, and then there's modern. So these are like edited versions. So let's look at sleek. It gives us this. Pretty cool. If you do Redmond, I think it's pretty much like the Windows 7 look. Maybe not. My memory's a bit blurred on that. If you want the normal Windows, if you want Windows 11, that's fine. This is super simple too. Myself are going to stay with this for now, even though it's not what I use normally. Okay. Now that we're done tweaking that, well, you can do what you want, but this is what I do. Then we can do blur my shell. So on the first page, it's the pipelines. This is what actually affects the blur and the brightness of the blur. So if you want complete transparency, a bit Mac OS Tahoe style, oh, you can do that. I don't like that, so I'm not going to do that. I like my blur to be somewhere like this, but let's do 25. It's blurry, but you still see the shapes very well. And then there's the brightness, which controls how dark that blur is or how bright. I would just leave it at 60. I think it's well balanced. Alright, the second one down here is going to be for the dock. So, same thing. Blur. You change the blur to the way you want. I'm going to change it to the same. And I'm going to make this a little brighter. If my cursor wants to. There we go. Let's do 75. No, let's do 80. I prefer the look of the 80. But again, you do what you want. This is just how I do it. A lot of people asked, how do I do it? So I'm showing how I do it. Okay, we don't do anything here. We're good. We don't do anything here. We're good. We surprisingly don't do anything here either. We're good. Ah, there we go. This is the fun stuff that I like. Applications blur. So applications blur is really everything. All the apps that you pull out, at the exceptions of the ones you whitelist. Blacklist, actually. So you turn it on and you'll see nothing changed. You do remove this, enable this. There we go. You see that? It's already blurring. This is great. Ah, there we go. It's blacklist. Blacklist means to not do. Whitelist is approved. Okay, I get it. So, I think with an app, it might be better to blur it all the way, but for this case, I'm gonna keep it very universal here. Brightness, I like to keep it at the max, and then opacity. This is how much blur effect you want. I'd say go the less you can until things are hard to read. So like me, it would be at 220. 220 is nice for me. If there's a window you absolutely don't want to blur, such as like maybe DaVinci, or let's say for some reason you don't want your Files app to be blurred. Here's what you do. You add window, and then you add it. There you go. You see it's not blurred. In my case, I don't need that, but that's how you do it in case. Stuff like DaVinci, stuff like image viewer or video player, those are completely reasonable things to blacklist. Is there anything in other? No, we are good on Blur My Shell. What's next? Dash to dock. So, personally, I remove auto hide. I don't feel like it needs to hide it. I put something like this. I would put it at 40x. Launchers. If you want the application icon, I recommend putting it at the beginning. But myself, I'm just going to remove it entirely. And then there's one more setting to put. It's an appearance. Shrink the dash. It's literally it literally does what it says. It shrinks the dash. So the icons will stay the same size, but everything surrounding it will become smaller, so makes it cleaner. Okay, what's next? Extension list, we don't need to do anything, just perfection. This is the padding on top here and the little tweaks, right? Let's just see if I'm still recording. Yes, I am. Great. This is why I love GNOME so much more over KDE. It's just so much more seamless, and it feels powerful. Sorry, got slightly distracted. Anyway, you don't touch this. We're gonna do this on our own. You can check out the stuff here if you want. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not going to do anything here. This is where, no, this is not it. This is where we go in customize. So, panel size, we're not going to touch it because we're going to change that with something else. Now, panel icon size, we're not going to touch that. It's well balanced in my opinion. Panel button padding size we're going to change though. I'm going to change it to 2x, or should I do 3? 2? Oh, let's do 2. I like 2. And then the panel indicator padding size I would put at 0 because it's all one button anyway, so it just makes it cleaner. Clock, I like putting it on the right side and then putting it before this, but after all the app stuff, so I put it at 6 on the right. And we're good there. We're all set up there. Fantastic. And then there's user themes. It's what makes us use tweaks. And then whatever icons you install or whatever shell themes you installed, they'll be in here. Let's do Papyrus. There we go. That's nice. Cursor, I'll do the Mac Tahoe cursor, even though it's not that big of a difference. Shell, normally I would put the macOS Tahoe, but on this user I don't have it, and then, yeah, again, do what you want here. Great. Emacs input, I did not know that was a thing, that's cool. Okay. Now, there's a few additional things you can add to your extensions list if you want. You can add caffeine. I wrote with this. Oh, right, I'm in installed. Don't make this mistake. Go into browse and then search it. Look for caffeine, and basically it's gonna disable the screensaver, so it's never gonna turn off. Which yes, you can do in the basic settings. However, when you have caffeine, it just becomes a toggle you can put on and off. So if you don't want it on, that's the way you can do it. Another thing you can do is media controls. Is it media controls or media indicate? I think it's this one. So if you go to on a browser or something, yes. Don't say Microsoft. Don't say Microsoft. Yes, I use Edge, but I don't like Microsoft. Okay. Okay. I'm not gonna change anything because you're most likely not gonna use Edge out of moral reasons. If we go on YouTube and we play, it's using Copilot. No. Okay. If we go on Copilot and we put a YouTube video. Well, I was about to type YouTube in YouTube. That is how mentally sick I am. Let's go with one of my videos. Here we go. And let's play this one. Or good. No, it makes sense to play this one because you see, now it has the indicator that something is playing at the top. It'll do this for your Apple Music, via Cider, for your Spotify. Excuse me. It's pretty cool. If you want to customize it, what I like to do, if I use it, I don't often use it, but if I use it, I crank the width to the max I can, so that it'll say absolutely everything. Cool. And then it just turns off whenever you turn it off. Okay. I'll show you what the app indicator does. If I go on Desktop, which is my Discord client of choice, we do submit. There's going to be a Discord toggle. If we do, there's going to be one for Cachy update. If you're on CachyOS, actually, we got to enable that. Cachy update. There we go. Now you'll be able to update all your things anytime you want. Fantastic. There's something very weird going on, but I think that's because of the streaming logo, so it might not look like that for you. Okay. We've got... Well, never mind. You can actually put a weather thing if you want. Weather clock. but I tend to not use that because where I live, I can get depressed very easily by the weather. Now this is the initial setup I had for like a year and a half. No, not a year and a half, maybe a year. Very cool. But then this is where the fun really begins, and where the customizability goes a very long way. It's an extension called Open Bar, and this is how you get the colors you want. So as soon as I click install, you'll see a change on the top panel. This is not very pretty, but we're gonna change that, don't worry. Do this according to the colors of your wallpaper and what you want. Do not feel the need to completely copy me unless you really want to. So if you go into auto theming, you can set these. I would not turn this on. Do true color. I prefer true color. Do true color and then see what happens. Okay, it gave me a brown background with an orange neon glow. That's okay, I guess. But we gotta change that. We gotta change that. So, type of bar, you do what you want. I prefer mainland, but you can have tri-land, so it's like a pill-shaped thing. Or you can have islands, so that it's just the circles themselves. And if you want to do something like this, I'll show you how to get rid of this blur. I'm gonna go mainland personally, and in here we don't need to do anything. Apply an overview, so if I do this, it stays, but I think I'm gonna turn that off. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. I don't know what's going on with my throat, man. Okay. I'm very sorry that you guys have to listen to that. Bar foreground, you're most likely gonna want to use white unless you have a very bright background, which in that case the auto foreground color will change it. Bar background. Okay. Let's see what we want with the background. So if you're using the mainland like me, I would go here. If you use the islands, you would go here. What I like to do is I go to custom, and then I use this pen thingy, and then I click on a color I like on the wallpaper, like this. Okay, this is set up nice now. In here, there's not much to change. So let's go to bar highlights. The bar highlight cover is going to be the color of when you hover over something in the panel. We're going to remove that, and you see how there's these little orange leaves on the floor? I want that. So I could go for this. I think this is the exact color I want. And now if you hover, ooh, it's orange. It's up the alpha a bit, it's even more orange. So let's go 85. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Good. If you want it to be a border instead of a highlighter, you can do that. In my case, I don't do that. Bar border. Now, if you're using the islands or the tri-lands, keep the width to top, bottom, left, and right, and the radius to everything. But I'm using the mainland, so I'm going to remove top, left, and right, and leave the bottom. I'm going to remove the top left and top right, and leave the bottom. The glow, I'm gonna make that. You can either make it for the aesthetic I'm going for this on this setup, either go black, or you go with a much darker version of the color of the main color you're using. I think that looks pretty sweet. We can do alpha, we can do width. So if you want the thing to be thicker, it often happens, doesn't it? Corner radius, if you're using the mainline, well, it's your choice. I'm nuking that thing. And now it's a bit similar to when I don't have open bar. Why did I say? Oh, well, because the bottom is like fully. There's no. Okay, the hot corners gets annoying when I'm trying to show something. Okay, it's whatever. All right, now that we got the top bar colors we want, We can actually, let's go to background and reduce the alpha so that it's a bit more transparent. All right, I like that. Now that that's done, pop-up menus. So pop-up menus is going to be everything that you pop up, basically. For now, when I right-click, it's still this, but that's going to change soon. Background color, I like to do the exact same thing as my dock, not my dock, my panel. So there we go. Looks pretty sweet. And the border, we're going to change the border color to the same one too. Very nice. It's getting nice. Let's do border alpha 85. Okay. Auto highlight color, we want that off and put our orange. There we go. Now well, let's put the alpha a bit higher. Now it's orange when we scroll through it. Very nice. And accent color, this is going to be the color of these things. Put it to what you want. I'm also going to do orange here. Never mind, I'm not going to do orange. I'm going to do a brighter green. Nice, 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 nice. Override color, override secondary. I like this a lot. We're going to keep it like that. Alright, dock. So, you can either do your custom colors like this, or in my case, I'm going to do, you can do either the menu color or the top bar. I'm going to do the top bar. Now it feels like the dock got bigger all of a sudden. Oh, I completely forgot something here. Go to dash to dock if you didn't do it. Oh, wait, you have to remove this. Go to dash to dock. And, no, it's not dash to dock. Sorry, can be confusing, but I'm probably not going to edit this out. Go to blur my shell. Go to effects and go to I forgot to show the corner. Okay, and put it to 50 if you want, like, in my opinion, the nicest look. But again, Linux is about doing what you want, so do what you want. Alright, let's go back to open bar. We got distracted. Let's go to the dock. Background alpha. It doesn't really change anything when you use the top bar colors. You can do border radius. We do that to the max. Icon size. Okay, there we go. That's why. I put it to the same as I did on not just perfection, but dash to dock earlier. And I also disable the shadows so that it's more like that. Oh man, it's looking pretty nice already. And now, if we apply all of these, look at my right click. Now it's the green, so it's looking more uniform everywhere. From the start menu, this is really cool. I kind of wish it was a bit of a darker green, but you can change that anytime. This, it's great. It's gonna be great, great, great. And here, I don't feel the need to change anything. No, I'm not gonna change that. So, that is how I would set up my GNOME setup. That's how I would set up my GNOME desktop environment. If I were still using GNOME, I might come back to it some point, but right now I'm getting my hands dirty with Hyperland, which if you're a full beginner, I do not recommend. Even I shouldn't use it, but hey, I'm doing it anyway for the sake of it. And yeah, I hope once again you had or are having a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.